Aloha Scholars, it's Meredith. Want to go over a couple examples of initial posts, give you an example of some styles that can inspire you, hopefully for some goal setting on your communication in our class, but then also as your career expands and you take on more classes, this will be the foundation for your discussion skills and your discussion best habits. So without further ado, I want to give you 3 examples of discussion posts so you can think about where you're at and where you want to go. And ultimately, I want to help you earn a great grade in class. So here we go. So these examples are based off of week 2's prompt, but you can certainly use these examples to think about what you include in your discussion initial post content in the future, in weeks 3 and so on. All right, so go ahead and pause this video at any time to read through the examples, but we'll just go over the specs together. So this discussion post I would label as a basic but respectable post that would earn a passing score but would get point deductions. The point deductions would be that it's only 119 words long and it lacks evidence of critical thinking. But you'll notice since we need to include more words, we could easily add in a few statements to show critical thinking. So those two kind of couple together and can be a solution to the problem. We notice that the post is proofread, which is awesome. If you're still shopping around for a proofreading tool, I highly recommend Grammarly or Word 365 Editor. We also see that the student answered all of the prompts from the discussion. So this is a good, basic, respectable post, but again, we'll have a few point deductions, but still would earn a passing score. Let's move on to example number 2. So you'll notice in yellow that the yellow represents the same exact content from post 1, but the blue here shows that the student added in a little bit more wording and they added in critical thinking. What I look for and how I determine if your post has critical thinking or not is I look to see if you talk about specific things that you learned, okay? I don't want it to be too general or vague because then I really can't tell if you're analyzing content from the lessons or just kind of giving me general knowledge that you already knew. I want to see how what you learned shaped your answer. Now, sometimes things that you learn in the lecture may be a review, but there's usually always at least a few things new that you learned that can help you shape your answer. But you can certainly use content from the lecture that may be a refresher. But the key thing is that for critical thinking to be present in a post, you need to talk about some of the lecture material in relation to the question, okay? All right, so the students got the word count checked out, it's proofread, they answer all the prompts, and they add in critical thinking. Go ahead and pause this and read it in more detail so you can see what it looks like. But we're going to move on up to the stellar post, example number 3. Okay, so this initial post is essentially a stellar post, and the reason why is because they go beyond the basic guidelines for the initial post. They demonstrate critical thinking, but what makes it stellar is that they also engage their audience in a specific way. So let's just look at that last part because that's what's added. So you'll notice the yellow and the blue came from example 2, but the white and the gray are added on. So what does the student do differently that makes this stellar? Well, as a communicator, they engage their audience. So here you'll see if you read through the example that they shared a personal example. Could their example be a little more detailed? Maybe. But the fact that they're bringing in a specific situation where they used this skill and they're reflecting on it shows that they are trying to engage and connect with their audience in a personal way. Then the second thing they do to engage and connect with their audience is they ask a specific question. This is great when you really want your classmates to feel inspired to reply to your post, or if you feel like discussion replies are getting boring, ask a question. That'll change the conversation, okay? So this is a stellar post because it does everything from post 1 and 2, but they add on audience engagement. One thing that students sometimes wonder about, especially my husband, because he's a student too for a different school, and he's always like, the word counts. Why do I have to meet a word count? Listen, a stellar post could be only 200 words. It's about what you write, not how much, okay? Some students can make a stellar post in 200 words. Other students need more, and that's okay. Remember that all 3 of these examples are respectable and good. Just they all offer different things, and so I encourage you to read through them, think about where you're at in terms of these styles, And then also set a goal for yourself on where you want to be by the end of the class. Okay. Again, remember that I'm your biggest advocate and I'm here to support you. So anytime you submit something to me, I'm going to be looking for your strengths and I'm going to let you know what they are. And I'm also going to tell you, okay, here are some things that we can do to help you grow. So keep that in mind, and I look forward to seeing your post this week. If you have any questions, email me. Otherwise, have a good week and keep moving forward.